So my wife, Abby, tells me that my maiden flight of this was kind of wimpy, a little bit not full throttle and snappy enough. So of course I've got to take that challenge and bring this back out for another flight. In today's video, we're going to try to wake it up a little bit. This is the amazingly huge A-10. It's a twin 70mm EDF. And I told you guys that I had a hunch we could fly on a 7,000 milliamp. Well, that's what we have under the canopy today. Check it out, a 7000 6S fits in here perfectly, really. And I've got my receiver mounted on the side, and then the flight stabilization is just mounted right here. I love everything about this in the maiden flight, and it just wasn't long enough, honestly. That's really what it came down to. So we're back out here again today, and you can see the challenge of the day is the weather. It's very overcast, and this is a blending in with overcast kind of jet, but I think the white is going to be enough to make it pop. And we have really nasty weather blowing in, so the longer I wait, the windier it gets. So let's fly. What an awesome looking plane. This thing does taxi well too. So let me just confirm flight stabilization on versus off really fast. I haven't even used it yet. The maiden. Sometimes I trust myself more than flight stabilization. Sometimes I trust the flight stabilization more. This one also has an AS3X similar kind of compensation for gusts of wind and stuff, which is another reason it looked so smooth when it was flying on the maiden flight. In real time, that was actually just yesterday. YouTube time, it might be a couple days before we let this video out, but we'll see. Here we go. 7,000 milliamp. Nice and smooth. We'll get that landing gear up right now. Yeah, you know, so for the Expo at 25%, it felt really good for landings, but in the air it just felt a little too soft. Here we are at 20%. Abby wants a bit more of a challenge, so we'll give it to her. Overcast days are harder to fly and film too, but for me, my general perspective, it doesn't seem to be a challenge to see it. Orientation is fine, probably really just because of the shape of the airplane. It's a very uniquely shaped airplane. Now Abby, you were talking about sounding like it just was never full throttle. Listen, this is full throttle on this pass. Here we go. We'll do full throttle down the runway too, and it actually needs some trim. I'll have to trim it up after this pass. Nav lights look great. That's it. She's just a quiet, whispering kind of A-10. It doesn't have the brrr that we would all hope for, unfortunately. But that's what we get with electric. It's a very, very awesome EDF. Now we had a 3.5 or 4 minute flight on the 5,000 milliamp battery. On this one, we should be able to easily hit 5 minutes. So that's what we're going to be shooting for today. Around 5 minutes at least. Here we go to a loop. Nice. It is a gentle giant of an A-10. It's a lot easier to fly than you might think. And I think that is a large part just because of the size. The bigger they are, generally, the easier they are to fly. See if we can get a nice low pass over the runway, kind of slow. We'll get some flaps on here too. Full flaps, which we have not done on any of these flights yet. There's full flaps. Not bad. Flaps are up. I'm climbing out of that. So awesome. 7,000 milliamp battery. This is one of the few airplanes I have, and I think the only EDF I have that'll hold that big of a battery. I still get a little nervous while flying this, but rightfully so. It's just an impressive RC.
3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. We're going to climb out of here on this side. We'll roll over and pull back around. The climb rate is awesome. As slow as it flies, you would think it would just fall out of the sky on a vertical climb like that. But it just has a lot of thrust. Let's do it again on this side. And we'll come out of that zero throttle so you guys can hear how cool that sounds. You ready? Listen. And there's throttle. That might not have been burr, but it's still a very cool sound.
There's a siren.
Boom here in a minute,
a siren going off in the background.
Yeah, there is a siren.
It's pretty hilarious with an A-10 and there's,
it is.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but
we'll be quiet here. Listen. We're going half flaps and we're going to actually pull in for a landing, Abby. And landing gear are coming down in 3, 2, 1. A little rough, but I'll take it. I was focused on those sirens in the background and no, that's very distracting because we've been up here hundreds of times and I've never heard those sirens going off.
It's like a tornado siren.
Yeah, but kind of freaking me out a little bit with this just really dreary day.
I'm sure it's just a test, but
I'm sure.
Who knows?
We got storms blowing in, so. Ugh. Okay, look at the taxi light. Oh my goodness. The yellow tips of all the missiles, the nav lights. That green one stood out really well. Is my red even working? Yes, it is. That green one was just very bright while I was flying. What a very awesome EDF that I thought deserved a follow-up. Abby, do you think I woke it up a little bit more at least?
A little bit.
Okay. Hey, short and sweet today. We just wanted to bring you guys a follow-up of this because it was so awesome. Honestly, I just wanted to fly it again. It's a very cool EDF. In my opinion, there's no real comparison between this and the E-flite version. And I say that because my initial impression, if I saw this online and I was comparing the two, I would only see price. You really don't think 64 to 70 millimeter would be that much of a difference, but my goodness, it is. They're very, very different airplanes. I love them both for very different reasons. This one literally has a millimeter to spare in the trunk, in one piece. I can put it in the trunk of the car and it all fits, but some people it might not fit and it would be a little bit more annoying to have to take the wing on and off. I will say it's just 2 bolts holding each wing on, I think 2 or 3, and my favorite thing about this is the FMS is using the plug system, so you don't have to fish wires through and plug things in. It just clicks into place and then some bolts hold that on. So it's not too difficult to take the wing on and off, but for me, I have very limited windows of opportunity to fly, so it's better for me to just be able to throw something in the air. Again, nothing like the E-flite version. They're very, very, very different, even though it's just a 6 millimeter diameter difference in the EDFs. Just there's other than the silhouette of the airplane, to me honestly, it's like I've flown a large Cub and a small Cub and they're pretty similar. These are not similar. This is just a big giant docile kind of A-10, where I think that the E-flite version is like smaller and way more snappy and stuff. So that's just my initial impressions and experience so far. I'm in love with this, and as long as it is willing to stay in my collection and not fly away from me or crash or anything, I am so happy to have it in the collection as well. If you're interested, we'll have it linked in the description box below where you can find all the goodies I'm flying on: the battery, my radio, what I use to hold my receivers in, which is better than any other method so far. Even my shoes, because some guys ask about my shoes. That'll be linked down there too. And just for the opportunity to jump out here in front of the camera and put this in the air before the storm hits today, I just want to say a massive thanks to God and a huge thanks to our Patreon supporters, because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without your amazing support. If you're into this plane, we'll have a maiden flight of it, my very first flight of this plane that we actually recorded on camera, a true maiden, will be popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.
Bye.